Welcome to Fast Gear. Today we have a 2015 Lamborghini Huracan. 610 horsepower all-wheel drive. The motor is damaged and we are going to replace it in the shop. The first thing we'll do is protect the paint with this paper that sticks to the paint so it doesn't get scratched. This beast of 610 horsepower and V10 engine accelerates up to 8,500 revolutions per minute. We have to change the motor, keeping in mind we cannot damage any part of this vehicle. Let's not forget how important it is to protect the paint. Every corner of the car. Every part that will be worked on to not scratch it. The next step would be to remove the rear cover of the engine. First, we remove the clips that hold the cover. These bolts are only held by a clip. With a flat screwdriver, remove the clip outwards. Always one person in the back holds the lid to prevent it from falling and being damaged. Remember, these parts are really expensive. Very carefully remove the clip and grab the screw. Meanwhile, the other mechanic supports the lid so it does not drop. Then the lower part has another clip, same as the one above. Remove it carefully. Before removing the engine covers, you need to remove the screw. Very carefully remove the other side and put it somewhere safe. Now we remove the back cover. With a socket, you're going to remove the 4 bolts that are at the bottom of the hinge. Remember, only remove 2 bolts at a time. The 2 on the interior of each side. If you don't do this, you could allow the lid to drop and damage the vehicle. Now let's remove the 2 bolts that are the top part. Remember, you must do this with 2 mechanics. Now, let's remove the rear lid. Carefully lift it up and put it somewhere safe. This lid is really expensive. Now, we remove the rear covers. The rear covers are designed to protect the motor from any particles that can cause damage. They're made of carbon fiber or composite material. Carefully, with a flat screwdriver, turn it and remove it. Now we'll start with the lateral covers. We'll start with the right side. These covers are a little difficult to remove. Have patience. Carefully remove it back. Like I said before, place the part in a very safe place. Now we'll do the left side, and the same way remove the screws. Remember, the screws stay in the panel. As you can see, this side has been more difficult to remove. Remember, have patience. Carefully turn the bolts until it frees. Move it upward and ready. It came out. Okay, now it's time to remove the brace of the motor. This part is made to add resistance to the chassis. Carefully remove the screws that are on the back part on the wall of fire. Two screws in front, two in the back. Now, lift the part carefully and place it in a secure place. Remember, this vehicle has many different bolts. The best option we have at the shop is to place the screws back where we took them, and this way it's easier to remember where they go. This just takes a few more seconds. Now we have to remove the back brace. This part is designed to add resistance to the chassis. Remember, this part is recommended to place the vehicle on the lift, so it's not on the floor. Once in the air, the weight distributes differently and allows this part to be removed. This part has 4 screws. Also has other parts attached. Like the oil tank, it also has a cable and it has a vacuum line. Now the oil tank has 2 screws in the central part. Remove the screws, one at a time, and place them back where they belong. After everything is removed, make sure the bar moves freely from side to side to confirm nothing was left pending. Then we are going to remove the rear part of the vehicle, which will be the bumper and the exhaust grille. This grille is made of iron to support the heat of the exhaust. Carefully introduce a spline socket to remove the screws or stars. Patiently remove one at a time. Between 2 people, it's recommendable to remove the grille so as to not hit the rear defense. Remember the grille. After removal, place it somewhere secure. Now we have access to the lights and defense. The next step is to remove the spoiler. We'll remove the screws from this part. Carefully remove screws from the interior part. after we remove the screws. Let's go to the top part. As you can see, there's 2 screws on the frontal part. 2 at the bottom that are approximately 1.5 inch long. This screw has a corrosion problem. The bottom that supports the screw is corroded and doesn't come out easily. This will change for something new. Carefully turn the screws and lift them out little by little until they come out. Remember, this part is made of carbon fiber and you don't want to break it. Now carefully lift the back cover. Once lifted, you can access the rear tail light connectors, the third light. With the back part removed, once removed, you can access the light. You can now raise the connectors carefully. Be careful to not lift the spoiler until these connectors are disconnected. The spoiler then has some screws in the front that are only in charge of supporting the spoiler back. Remove 2 screws on each side. Remember to not mix the screws, put them in a safe place. As you can see, we are still struggling with the spoiler. Now let's remove one of the side screws to access the bracket. Remember, you must be careful not to damage this wire. This operation takes a bit of time. That is now pending. Just below the spoiler bracket is a wire. Remember, you must be careful not to damage this wire. This operation takes a bit of time, little by little until it is released. If you are not careful, you will break it. And finally, we finished with the spoiler, after a long battle longer than World War I. We took it out. Well, after the fight with the spoiler, we'll have to stop for a moment. Because we have just received a Ferrari 812 to do a service. I'll see you next week in part 2. Bye.